as you'd expect, we've got three outstanding farmers to take us through this session. First, we have Brian Matheson. Brian runs a mixed farm with his wife Caroline up on the Black Isle, amazing bit of the country. He finished his tenure as a monitor farmer last year, marked the occasion with coming third in the 2016 Yen with an achievement of 63% of his potential of 17 tonne a hectare, just 1% off the winner, Brian, so you were pretty close. So I think a really good chance to hear from Brian about he has been pushing yields, and then we'll move on with the others. Brian, over to you.
Okay, can you hear me at the back? Or more to the point, can you understand me? Right, we're the AHDB arable monitor farmer for the north of Scotland from 2013 to 2016. And we farm on the Black Isle. For those of you who don't know where that is, that's about 500 odd miles north of where we are today, and probably right on the edge of where wheat can be commercially grown in this country. I farm in partnership with my wife Caroline and our daughter Rachel, who's recently become involved in the business, taking on some of the agronomy duties and a bit more of the paperwork. We run about 900 acres, a mixture of owner-occupier, contract farming and short-term leases. It's predominantly an arable business, but we do have a flock of 120 ewes, and we keep suckler cows in the winter time for hill farmers, so that means they come down to our farm on a bed and breakfast basis, and it helps to keep mac on the farm. We rent out land to a seed potato grower, and that's quite common in our area. It's a big seed potato growing area. We also rent out land for growing carrots, and these are strawed down and not lifted to the furrow in May and June, one of the advantages of a cool climate. This also has the advantage of incorporating an awful lot of straw back into the soil. Our main crop is malting barley. We're in the heart of distilling country. It's all low nitrogen, and there's a ready market for it for where we are. Upon saying that, 40% of our spring barley crop is grown as a seed crop and then sold on to local farmers, so adding a further premium onto the premium of malt that we're already getting. We also grow some oilseed rape and a small area of wheat, which is also grown for seed. Now the Black Isle, as you can see, is a peninsula surrounded on three sides by water and by the fourth side by the hills. The arable land is only a narrow ribbon around the coast, and opportunities for expansion are quite difficult because there's much competition for land, and as you can see the hills in the background, there's not that much land. So we carry out some contracting and operate a mobile seed dresser. We run a couple of Heston balers. We do all our own work in-house, so we've got 650 acre crop, and we've done 100 acre stubble to stubble for a neighbour. We also do all the work on 100 acres of carrots, and we don't employ any staff, so we're pretty busy. We just employ self-employed seasonal drivers, and this has all helped to drive down our machinery costs, because we can't drive down our machinery costs by expanding over greater acres, because it's so difficult to get acres. So in 2016, Gavin from the AHDB sent us an email about the yen. So for those of you here that don't know about the yen, it's a competition run by ADIS with the ultimate aim of promoting increased yields, but it's a competition. So 10 years ago, wheat for us was a really profitable crop. We're living in the Highlands. There's a huge grain distillery next to us. They're making white spirit, which is basically alcohol, and they're producing blended whiskey and gins. But we had a poor harvest in 2011. Wheat crops were poor, bushel weights were low. I think in 2012 you guys had a poor harvest, bushel weights low again. They jumped on the French maize, discovered they get far more extract out of French maize, and they've abandoned wheat. This for us is a major blow. We were on a premium market because so much wheat had to be shipped up there. We were getting 10 to 15 pound a tonne above the feed price. We were then faced with a 180 mile haul to the central belt with a 10 to 15 pound a tonne deduction for the haulage. So overnight, we faced a 25 to 30 pound a tonne swing in our wheat margins. It completely transformed the economics of growing wheat in our area. So the opportunity to use the monitor farm group to compete in a competition designed to increase our yields seemed like a good opportunity for us. So I think much to Gavin's surprise, we said we would have a go, and fingers crossed that we wouldn't be last. So now it's often said if you want to fail at something, form a committee. So that's what we did. And but the competition element in it really encouraged all the wheat growers. And it's not a big band of wheat growers up. Well, I think there's only about 6 in the group. But they all pitched in with their ideas and experience. And a fixture of every monitor farm meeting then would be that we would walk the crops, and they would pitch in with their opinions. Some of them not all that welcome sometimes, but never mind. Now, one of the things that have become apparent to me through the benchmarking in the monitor farm group is that from previous harvests, we were not at the top of our game. We were at the lower end of yields in the group. And but I knew from our accounts and from my wife's credit card bill that we were actually quite profitable and that we were generating money. But that good profits were not necessarily coming from growing crops, and maybe come from other parts of our business, and then from our extra premiums from selling seed, our contracting operations. So already I was underachieving. And why were we underachieving? That's the most difficult thing. It's not solving the problem, it's deciding what the problem is. So two of the main reasons it became apparent is that we had difficult potato harvests in the preceding years. And we're renting out land for potatoes. Some of the fields have been pretty trashed. We're also renting out land for carrots, but in this, similarly, they had difficult strawing down conditions, they had difficult harvesting conditions. But it makes a worthwhile contribution to the business, this rent. And we're loath to walk away from it. It sort of bomb-proofs our business in that we have this chunk of money that comes in every year that we could live on if things aren't really bad, you know. So I'm loath to abandon that, but we are become a bit more fickle on field selection, and we do try to put a little bit of pressure on them not to operate when it's really bad or whatever. So there is a little bit more come and go in this, you know. But the other thing that we looked at, and it's becoming apparent, that our landowners and our contract farming operation and our short-term lets had been loath to invest back into their businesses. They just saw it as a pure cash cow that we were giving them money. So this had to be tackled. So with a bit of advice from some of the other members of what they had done in similar situations, we tackled the landowners, and the issues have been dealt with, or are being dealt with. That we've improved our drainage, improved maintenance of drainage, which was being not done in these short-term lets. And we've started GPS mapping, so we're now variable lime spreading, and we've increased our usage of lime, trying to get our pHs up. Well, mainly their pHs up. Our pHs were fine, but it's on the contract farming and the short-term lengths, and that was dragging down our things. We did loads of other things. We've looked at compaction. We've looked at our headlands. A big bit of our business is headlands. We have a lot of small fields. We invested in new wheels for our drill tractor, and many of the improvements had already been set in motion before we got to the end thing. We were quite fortunate. The timing was quite good. So what did we look at? Some things we looked at. One of the first things we looked at was nutrition. This is actually a picture from an earlier trial that we did in 2014, where we attempted to grow a crop of wheat without using any fungicides. This and only using trace elements, lots of trace elements. This went fabulously well till mid-July, when we got 20 mil of rain and humid weather, and it was just like it had been torched, like you'd sprayed it with gramoxone. So it was a bit of a learning curve, but we weren't frightened to try things. So it's just things that we've done in the past. So the group, the committee or the group, whatever you call them, they got more involved in it. So we got more detailed analysis of the soil, more than what we were doing before, or we're just doing the basics. We got tissue analysis, which we weren't doing before, and reacted on that. And the agronomy, it became driven by yield then, not by cost. I know that might make some of you shudder, but we didn't go mental, but we just put more robust rates on and did everything a bit more, you know. The group even decided in the end that they would change the field that we were actually going to enter the end. We had running 2 fields at the time, and the group made the decision that they would want a shift field. So against my advice, we shifted field and put in a different field, and they were right. So so the committee were given a pretty free rein really to do what it did, you know. So this is the yen map of Britain. You can see we might have a slight advantage in that we're the lowest potential yield area, but I would argue that it might not be any more difference between 19 tonne a hectare in East Anglia and 17 tonne a hectare up west. I think I might rather have a go at 19 tonne a hectare in East Anglia, but maybe somebody would disagree. But anyway, how we went, well, there was already like the cat out of the bag, but it went really well, and we got 62% or 63%, third place overall in the yield potential. So we were absolutely delighted. A high took out on for the Monitor Farm project. Now, I just thought I'd stick in these couple of pictures to show some of the challenges that we have. I know you guys have blackgrass. We don't have blackgrass. We don't have slags. We've got ploughs right now. This is the yield monitor. Might say the yield, as you can see, is quite acceptable. Work rate's pretty low for a 6-walker combine, and the moisture might be slightly unusual for most of you, you know. And in case you think I'm totally mad, this is actually another yen contributor, and that's his wheat. It's over 30%. You can drive up with his teleporter, you know. So we do have different challenges. Our challenges are the weather, distance from market. So anyway, we've done our stint as monitor farmer, and but we're finished our 3-year term. But we've decided to keep our benchmarking group going. It's taken us 3 years to build it up, and it's actually getting better. It's getting easier because our figures are more accurate. But we've also kept the wheat growing group going. And for 2017, let's take some of this gin. For 2017, a group of 4 of us got together, and from the business group, and we decided we'd enter yen, and the AHDB generously agreed to sponsor 2 of us. So about once a month, we would take our little group and set off around each other's crops. And it's quite easy because we're not big wheat growers, so between the whole lot of us, we've only got about 400 acres of wheat, so we could easily go around everybody's crops. And the smaller group worked really well. And it worked really well for me because for this time, instead of just being standing my own crop, I got to look at everybody else's crops. And instead of that, like we're only growing 1 variety of wheat in 2 fields, but all of a sudden we're looking around 10 fields of wheat, half a dozen varieties, 3 different agronomists. So it all became much more interesting and much more, the group thing, the ethos was really good, you know. And we shared good ideas and bad ideas. And we tried some different things, maybe not too scientifically, but some sort of outlandish things. So this year we increased the level of potash. We put a hefty lump of potash in our wheat this year. The local Agri-I farm has shown that they were getting responses to potash in our area up to really quite high levels. So we chucked a lot of potash on. And we got a sponsorship this year from Nutrail, and they give us a lot of free trace elements and tissue analysis, and Agri chipped in with quite a lot of chemicals for us. The 4th member of the group, John, he got sponsorship from Yara, so that effectively all 4 of us then entered the yen. John, the youngest of us, I'm perhaps a little rash, a chicken farmer, he went a bit over the top of the chicken muck and paid a hefty penalty in July when the wet weather came. So his combine also broke down at the harvest time, so he had to abandon the end because it's so much pressure, and he just had to cut it all and put them on heap. So that was him out of it. But the rest of us, well, how did we do? The 3 of us, Mark, he got 11.9 tonne a hectare, just 68%, 11th. I got 12.5 tonne a hectare, which was 70%, which was 6th. And Donald got 14.8 tonne a hectare, 83% of potential yield, and won the competition. And he actually got 2nd in the total yield altogether, which was pretty amazing about the whole thing, you know. So what did it? Well, undoubtedly a huge amount of luck. You know, there's luck really comes into it. But if you look behind the luck, what else did happen? Well, the luck bit was that we had a lovely dry winter. We didn't have a loss of nutrients. We didn't have a huge rainfall. We had a super dry April and May, and we didn't get the high temperatures that you guys got. We got like mid-20s, lovely growing weather. We did suffer a bit, maybe in May. Well, my crop did. It was on lighter soil. The other boys, it didn't seem to bother them so bad. So we did have a little bit of that. But the luck bit did play a big bit. But I think this phrase here, it does sort of fit it a little bit, because it's all the effort that we put in, all the things that we've sorted out, all this little bitties that we've done. And if we hadn't done them, it didn't matter how much the sun had shone, that we wouldn't have been able to hit that yield. So that cooperation and that team effect has really driven us on to make hundreds of little, well, not hundreds, but dozens of little improvements, and ultimately driven on our yields and ultimately the profitability of our businesses. Thank you.